Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my Impact faithful. My name is Geoff. This is the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast number 84, episode 84. Oh, creeping our way to 100. And alongside me, as always, no matter what happens, no matter what we go through, he is the Heath to my Rhino. It's Max, everybody. What's going on, buddy?
I'll take that.
Hey.
I liked, not the. I mean, I don't know if either one of us come out winners in that one, but I'm fine with the comparison.
Well, we'll talk about it. I think that there is some plus out of that. I've been trying to be more optimistic when it comes to the who we are and each other, and I think we'll get into it. We'll get into it. By
the way, I want to apologize if you guys hear me screaming. My cats are fighting in the background, so I've got a water bottle, but.
Train your cats. All right.
You were just yelling at yours like 2 seconds before we came on air.
Hey, that's a mountain lion. There's a difference.
That is true.
That guy will kill you. My cat will kill you. All right. Putting the pussy on a pedestal. All right. Let's get into the show. We got a lot to talk about, obviously. A few, obviously a sad thing to hit, but also to celebrate and the history and what Scott Hall brought to the table of professional wrestling. So yeah, we got that to talk about. Numbers are low, but it seems to be, and we'll talk about it with YouTube comments. I saw a few people mentioning there. I see Twitter's down a little bit. I see across the board, and I think there's a couple reasons. We won't get into ratings, but only so much, obviously. But it's nice weather, people getting out of the house, and once again, ratings don't fucking matter. March Madness is going on. There's other things, well, getting to not summer, but warmer weather. There's a few things. What's going on at Critical Sting? Welcome back, as always. But, obviously a lot to touch on. If you didn't go back, if you didn't watch last week's, please go back and watch it, because we'll be kind of concluding at least the tag team division part of the depth chart tonight. So we did the World Heavyweight and Knockouts World Championship, whatever the hell they're called. I don't know. They all got different names. But we knocked those out. We'll update those. See where we're at with those, and then go into the tag one, which I think kind of flows with what we mentioned at the beginning, Heath and Rhino. There's some news on him we'll talk about. Briscoes news maybe to look out for. We'll use our crystal ball a little bit there, and then of course the depth chart and on to Rebellion. So, the universe thing there, you'll see it on the Tron if you're watching us on Twitch right now, or you're watching us on YouTube. I want to say Masters of the Universe, but.
Awesome movie, by the way.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It'll come up, the multiverse thing. A lot of things there, but I think the graphic, if I updated it, will give you a little wink to where I'm headed with number 4. So let's get into everyone's favorite segment. I'm starting to enjoy it, even though I think we're going to start a segment called Was It Something We Said as well, because we've been having some honest opinions per usual, honest, transparent, unbiased, pro wrestling. That is the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling channel. But we lost some viewers. And subscribers. But now we're gaining them back, so thank you for that, and that's where I was going with that. I think it was something we said, because there's 3 thumbs down as well in our sacrifice review, so I'll have to go back and see who we offended. But
sacrifice review, what did we say bad there?
I don't know. It's probably about trolls or something of that nature. I have another one. It will be a constant segment, I think. But let's start out with our buddy Millard Harris. I wonder what numbers would MLW, speaking of numbers, MLW, NWA, New Japan, Strong, AEW Dark Elevation, or ROH would get if they were on Access TV. It's not Impact's product, it's the damn network. So I wish people wouldn't always concentrate on the rating system and concentrate to the amazing shows they're doing. Thanks, Geoff, Max, and Io. You guys kick ass every show. Thank you. Millard Harris, I think he has another one coming up. It's a great point. We just touched on it. Ratings, to me, don't matter until someone asks me about the damn ratings. I think I speak for Max as well, as long as it's on TV and gets the rating of 1, and I'm still watching that, I'm happy with that. So,
Is Access happy with what they're getting? And that's all that matters.
right.
So I'm going to let you know, there's some TV shows that I thought were absolutely horrible, but they struggled on for 4 or 5 years. So clearly that's all that matters. There's some TV shows that I have loved, and they've been canceled after 4 episodes. So
Yeah, fair. It's fair. As long as it's on TV, I'm happy.
That's all that matters.
Next up, returning Metal Lazy 99. I don't think refreshing the roster is the problem. That's fine. It's more of a not signing a draw top star. That's the problem, because as good as Jay is, he's only there for a limited time. So if he isn't there, his fans won't be as interested in watching Impact when he leaves. I'll let Max touch on that because I'm going to touch on that later. But if you want to say something quick, I feel like you do.
So I agree in a sense. I think you need to have a solid base with stars, but at the same time, if you're constantly running through, if you go from Jay to
Silent Bob,
if you go to Kenny Kenny Omega to Jay to whoever's next, sure, their fans may leave, but you're always going to be bringing in new fans. And if 100 of those people are like, man, I like this product, I'm going to stick and watch it, then you're fine. So that's my thing. As long like we have Moose, we've got Josh. As long as you have your core group of people, rotating guys in isn't a bad thing. As long as it's a continuous flow. Jay coming in that nobody for a year and a half isn't a good thing. But if you're constantly bringing people in, I think
I mean, we'll talk about that obviously extensively going on with the depth chart and so on. I don't agree in the sense of I do like having a main roster that is ours, the core. So I think we do need a top guy. I see what they're saying, but I think right now, and we'll wrap that up with number 5, but I think Max is right with the Moose and Josh thing. I mean, we got 2 there. Let's see what the other 3 are. We'll revisit that. But right now, with the profit margin, with the budget, I'm sure they're in. We're in a good place right now, I feel like. So, and as we can see, not to shit on AEW, we talked about this. He's a avid watcher. I respected Pro Wrestling. Only got time for the one. Obviously, you can hear the kid in the back. But when it comes to, no, I'm gonna fucking lose it. Let's yeah, it's one of those treehouse days. Let's get back to that because I know I'll touch on it again, what I was going to say, but to remember it. But the Blurry Walk, thank you for that as well, Metal Lazy 99. The Blurry Walk, I thought when Cardona won the DMC title, he would be entertaining heel, but so far Cardona has nothing interesting. Cardona seems like a PG version of his indie heel character, and the DMC title is less on the show than when Grace had it. I think this is one of those instances where you got to take a step back and realize he's not on the show, period. So meaning he wasn't there for whatever set of tapings this was. He's not signed exclusively to us, so you have to. That's what you get out of it. Is he defending it elsewhere? I believe so. Do I still think that there will be a division for that, and he will bring prestige to it? Yes, but we are 3 months into that title or so. Let's hold our bridges there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to have a title. It is only maybe on the show, maybe only every actual pay-per-view as opposed to every special, and then is gone and defending in other companies. That's an interesting way to bring eyes on Impact as well. If you're like, oh, cool, this is Matt Cardona digital. Oh, well, let me watch Impact. So,
well, we'll touch on that. Obviously, this is going to be another intertwining episode, which I always dig the flow of conversation. But I do remember what I was going to say, which is, yeah, AEW got their guy in CM Punk. Some say he was already there, right? They got their guy in Bryan Danielson. What did that get him? What ratings boost did that really do? And that's not shitting on them. If we could have those two talents, would I sign up in a heartbeat? Yes, I would. But in the grand scheme of things, they have to live within a budget. They have to please only Access TV and the fans, and I think they continuously do that on a continuous basis. Next up, Silver Silvers. Welcome back. I have noticed since Impact Plus show that there aren't as many fans talking about Impact during the show. The ratings are what they are, the network they are on, the lack of star power, and so on, but the lack of engagement from a fan is more concerning than the ratings. I think that was all lack of star power, no, I think we'll touch on that as well. I don't think star power it means anything more than to fan boys that are swinging dicks. Who's on your show? Who gives a fuck? If you like the product, you get the product, and it's nothing against the question. I just think it's a revolving question that always happens. And we're not comparing Pokemon cards. We're comparing a television show. And the way people look at roster is really weird to me. I think we've talked about this extensively when it comes to it's not a real sports team. We're not competing against another sports team. The parameters of competition aren't the same. I just think there's a lot going on. Now, as far as the talking March Madness, there's a bunch of things going on. Not in Impact's favor. But once again, I really don't care because we got to stick to the same rhetoric, which is what I firmly believe, which is ratings don't matter in the grand scheme. Combined ratings.
Yeah, I do think the engagement is a little concerning, but I think a lot of people I don't watch Impact on Thursday nights. I watch it usually on Fridays or nights or Saturday mornings. And I'm obviously not going to go and tweet about an amazing match 2 days after it happened. I look like a moron or a weirdo. So I think that may be a little bit of an issue. I think there's a lot of people, potentially more people watching it on YouTube than on Access TV. And I'm also assuming, especially with March Madness, but a lot of those people are probably watching it at other times. So if that's the case, you're not going to get engagement on Twitter and stuff. So I think that is concerning. As long as their engagement during their specials is high, that's the important thing, because those are the ones that are live. Those are the ones that people are going to want to see. Watching a tape show on a different night because it's taped. Not necessarily.
All right. We got two more pages of these. Metal Lazy 99, VBD are the bromans of 2022. I mean, nobody really cares about them. Oh, blasphemy. Never mind. Metal Lazy 99, shame on you. We popped one.
I agree with what he's saying. The rest of his statement after your offense from the bromans is nobody really cares about him yet. For some reason, they're on TV every week.
Well, I'm saying that's wrong. I care about VBD. I care about bromans. I popped for when they won. I don't agree with that analogy.
I know. I was just finishing it because you got offended.
It's wrestling.
Part of
we got to keep it. IO Productions. Hey, IO. Having both ROH best teams like Briscoes and OGK on board with Impact would be dope and build up the tag division. Higher ups, AEW has to listen in to Warner Media, but not Impact. It's a win-win. Briscoes would still get to wrestle on TV. I agree. We'll talk about that. Lard Harris coming back, talking about the extensive. He's in there as well. Parkside 15. Welcome, buddy. Just talking about how it looks like the tag team division is being revitalized. We'll go into great depths on that. The Silver Servers, again, as far as the knockouts, they could use more jobbers, the way they don't ruin the momentum. I think they've had enough. Masha beats a jobber each week. We'll get into that. But if booked correctly for a couple months, Frost, Masha Shaw could be up there in the KO title scene. I agree. As far as the men, it's Moose, Josh, and maybe Eddie and Sammy, but nobody really knew because it takes time to create a new star, and Impact needs new main eventers currently, so not so much a year from now. I don't think it's as dire as people are making it out to be. Norris Sparks, welcome back. I think I've seen that name before, or at least the picture. I would like to see Josh Alexander win the world title and feud with Morrissey or Jonah or Cardona. Guys, keep them coming at TNAIW channel. I think I'm weird, Max, because I like Impact videos from a couple of days later. No, I'm with you. I will be commenting from my personal account, watching random shit the day of. I think it's his personal preference, but I think too is correct. I mean, what he's saying is right though.
I'll watch them, but I'm not gonna tweet about how amazing a match was 5 days after it happened. It's like if I'm watching it, and if I'm watching the Super Bowl, you're not going to see me on Thursday talk about a great catch that I'm like, that's a little weird, but I watch them and I'll like this stuff if it pops up on my thing, but I'm not going to try to start engaging with people about, and track down 5-day-old tweets.
Saturday
so
to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's another 3 days later. All right, guys. So that was your comments. Like I said, keep them coming. 8:15, right on time, guys. If we didn't do yours justice, I apologize. We're going to try to figure a way to speed them up without overlapping or not reading anybody's because they are coming in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So power rankings is where we're going next. Once again, I don't have the video. I apologize. Transitioning between Virginia to back to New York. We will have them out. Yes, I said that last week, but we'll have them updated and out. They're already finished. I just didn't have time to load them tomorrow. And if not tonight, we'll see what I could do. Put them out on Twitter at least. But look out for those. And then look out once again when we expand that show, hopefully by spring with Datia and Bert. All right. But here are the power rankings once again. Number 10, VBD coming in for the first week to start for the first week for them. That's after winning the tag title still. Still, they wouldn't make it the week before. Interesting. So maybe people don't care. I apologize. Number 9, Trey is up 1 and is week 5 in a row that he's on there. So this is week 5 for Trey. Jonah's back on the board at number 8. Honor No More with Taven and PCO headlining are down 5, but they are on again for week 6. And then Bullet Club right before them, down 2, week 6 as well. And just for those out there, we have settled on the ranking system as far as champions getting world champions getting 10 points added on, 5 points for other champions, and then groups are combined, which I think makes sense because if I'm with Max and Max has a great moment, I'm still part of that group and deserve to get the same amount of points. So staying even after that at number 5 is the world champion, knockouts champion, week 3 for Tasha Steeles. Didn't do much, but made an impression, it seems. Motor City Machine Guns for the second week in a row are on the top 10, coming up 4 spaces to number 4. Dionna is back on the list again with week 1 of back on right at number 3. She's the champ still. And then Josh Alexander up 1, week 3 for him, back on the board. And then last but not least, Moose breaking even, number 1, week 6 for him in a row. Max, your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I think it's a little weird that Violent by Design's so low.
But
hey, still overall a good list. We have Moose up top, which is all I ask for.
Your only thing. All right. I have no problems with it, no qualms with it. I think it's getting really tight. And if you guys could see behind the scenes, once again, if you want to join the Power Rankings Committee at TNAIW channel, it's as easy as a DM. You're in there every Thursday or before Saturday. You just type in your top 10, and we do the rest for you. Shout out to Bert, Datia, and everyone else who rocks it in there, and Lucha, who came up with it in the first place. All right, let's get into Impact on Access TV, because, boy, I think it was a show, man. I thought it was a good show all around. We are in a little bit of a lull, as we're heading into the multiverse thing. April 1st, then we finally get to Rebellion April 23rd. So it's not really, Impact's moment to shine, but I think they're doing solid stuff. First, they started off with a little tribute to Scott Hall, which we will talk about in just a second. After that, we start right away with the Bullet Club coming out to face Motor City Machine Guns. What the hell? That's awesome. Motor City Machine Guns winning it by a split second. Controversy here, but that match was a banger in my eyes. Obviously, we'll get more to that in just a moment. I think is that something you want to talk about now, or something you want to? Okay,
no, we'll run through it.
Awesome. Macklin was next up. He faced Rhino. Longer match than I thought, but Macklin took the win here. Anthony Corelli on commentary again. Interesting. Caleb backstage looking confused with his Influence shirt on and his World Tag Team titles pocket with whatever around him. Inspiration come in, doing inspirational things and trying to get him on board. I don't know where he seems to be. Interesting dynamic there, keeping that division in the forefront, but we'll talk about that. Rhino and Heath having a moment. Rhino kind of going back to his ECW Rhino, and that's different than, if anyone's an old head like me, it's different than Violent by Design. It's different than WWE. It's different than what he did in TNA. I'm digging this. And he's more. I don't know where it goes. I don't know if he stays sane. Uh, but we'll talk more obviously about Rhino. But the pairing adds to it. Obviously, we're gonna get to it. But 8-man elimination, or 8 tag team elimination match at Rebellion. Um, some interesting stuff to contemplate there.
A lot
A lot of
of tag
tag
teams.
teams. They must be listening. Tag team division. No, it's common sense. Alternative commentary. Brian Myers. Man, Brian Myers. Simple as this. You know, two things. One, it's going to be an entertaining segment. Two, a table is going to be broken, and I'm for it. So he was doing commentary for Larry D's return. Little thing here. Do I think it leads to anything else? No, I think he's one of those in-market talent they brought in. Good for him. He looked good. They gave him time to shine. And he faced Gujar, which, good Lord, I think we could talk about him in a bit. But with Myers, I'll end on a positive note. I think he's I don't know if it's injury or what it is, or just something they don't have for him right now, waiting for Cardona to come back, whatever it may be. I feel like he's got a pull, like a Brian Pillman type edge to him, which is just get him on TV. Who gives a shit what he does? He'll entertain you. It doesn't matter if he stays in character or whatever his arc. I like that Brian Myers is on television. Eventually, I hope he takes that next step, whatever it may be, if it's for the DMC, to make that division thicker or what. But I love what he does. So yeah, Larry D lost to Gujar. Raj Singh, who's becoming my instant favorite of the Impact roster. Comes out and they have a little shoving match there. Unfortunately, he gets shoved out of the ring right into Morrissey, who puts him through the table. Bailey, Ace, and Fulton backstage, kind of mentioning the past a little bit, which I wrote down to mention here because I really dig it that Ace is making Rebellion a important pay-per-view for him. You know, it was in the past. I have some monumental moments there, title wins there, and then so to us who maybe, or new fans especially, who don't view that era as maybe the peak of Impact's history, you know, because we were just getting back on our feet. It's cool to give it some respect and for him to talk about the past, to open the idea for people to go back and watch it, and also give some credibility to his previous reigns that might not have been seen. So I dig that. Next, Honor No More kind of did their cut promos. Dug it. Lishanetti finished it off. And then let me get your thoughts on that. I don't want to be whatever a hater by any means, but do you like this Lishanetti thing? It has to happen obviously because she's an on-screen character, but does this really? Do we need it?
I mean, I think it's an interesting situation. So yes, because you see situations in wrestling where they obviously acknowledge these two people are together.
Yeah.
And then they're both faces, and then all of a sudden one of them turns and becomes this horrible person, and it's like, is this person okay?
For continuity.
Yeah, if you're like storyline wise, like, hey, you guys were both good, and all of a sudden now this person's, pushing little babies in the middle of the street. Right. Are you okay with that? I like it. I like it's happening.
For needed purposes, I think it checks off the boxes. For want purposes, I could give two shits, and I like both of them. I just don't. The acting, it kind of the pace.
I'm just waiting for Eddie to put her through a table. And Ace Austin come in for the save.
So there's a lot more to hit. We're gonna stop right there for a second. Let's backtrack a little bit because I see some stuff in the chat here. Fire chat as always. Parkside 15. Word going around is the finish wasn't supposed to happen then, even though MCMG were going to win anyway. So I wrote that down because I saw some people saying that. I saw some people saying, "Are you okay with the finish?" Because look, every finish cannot be the same. Every finish can't be smooth. It's not a video game. And I like the reality here to say, hey, Motor City Machine Guns have the average age of 39 years old. They've been tagging for 16 years of that. All right. Them slightly beating average age of, and I did my statistics here, 27-and-a-half-year-old up and coming, already there, maybe huge superstars. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a nice little story. Do I think that it was an accident? No, I don't. I think it happened exactly how it was supposed to. And if it didn't, kudos to them for covering, Jay White for covering, whoever was in the ring. I can't remember. Forgive me if it was Brandon or not, but I loved the match. I thought it showcased both. I thought there was nothing wrong with the finish. And, I thought to start off the show with this, it was a damn good way to start off the show.
So I'll say this. First off, in the match itself, Motor City Machine Guns, who are an actual tag team, should beat Jay White and Chris Bay, two guys that hang out together but don't ever tag. I think it's stupid when real tag teams lose to two dudes who were just shoved together. Unless it's like two nobodies. But if you're talking about like an elite level tag team, should be better than even two elite level guys stuck together because they're tag teams. So I like that.
The logic of that.
The finish,
yeah, I dig it.
Yeah. The finish, I'll say two things. One, whether this was a planned finish or not, I think it works because it easily gets both these teams into the 8-man gauntlet, because Bullet Club can go to, if they really want to, can go to Scott and say, we didn't really lose, the ref messed up. And him be like, okay. Now, if this wasn't the planned finish, I will say this. I love when referees count. My job is to count. 1, 2, 3. If you don't kick out, that sucks for you.
Yeah.
Oh, well. It happened in NXT back with Emma when she did the Emma Mite sandwich splash thing on Becky and knocked her out or whatever. She pulls Becky over and covers, and the referee 1, 2, 3. The referee like holds up and is like telling her like, "Hey, be excited. I know this wasn't the plan, but you won." I like when referees just count. And recently in AEW, there was a match where, and granted, this was a title match, so I understand why, but it was for their TA whatever title, the women's one, where Jade Cargill did not kick out in time, and the ref just stopped. And that looks so bad when your ref is like 1, 2, hey, you're supposed to kick out here. Like, so I like that he just counted, and if Jay White got there late and wasn't able to break it up, oh well, that's the end of the match. Good job. I love that. It makes it seem more real.
Yeah, I agree with you there. One thing, that I want to mention as well, everyone's kind of agreeing there that they're not a normal tag team. One thing that Motor City shows that is so smooth, man. It's just like there was a moment where like, okay, they're going through the pace of things, and they haven't tagged in how long, but obviously they've tagged for so long. But they look at each other, and Alex looks at him, and he does the pose, and they both know, like, okay, kick time. Like, there's just the transitions they can recognize. It's such smooth, beautiful artwork in that ring, and I love it. The thing I want to mention, a couple things. One, I think Bay will be the first Impact homegrown talent that when he wins the title, I'll cry. Just because how they hype him up, if he stays from day one. The way they talk about his dog tags, wearing them in the Motor City Machine Gun dog tags, wearing them to school, and being a TNA guy. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You go watch his YouTube stuff when he was younger. He is an Impact day oneer in his heart. So I really hope that comes to fruition. I want to mention that. 2, commentary, A+. They're finding their groove. We'll get to the Anthony Corelli thing actually right after this. I want to get your opinion on that. What the fuck is that about? But I want to go back to, I don't know who it was, so forgive me. But and once again, we welcome all opinions. We welcome all, question us, challenge us. It's fine. And the manner in which you speak, of course, matters. But when it comes to not having completely signed talent or relying too much on X, Y, or Z. Max also touched on it. When you go elsewhere and you come back and you bring those people in and they leave again, it gives the people the opportunity to say, wow, man, Impact banked on their own product. Jay White brought me here. I like Impact now. I'm going to stick around. Impact is just banking on it's showing confidence, which I really dig. But two, I don't care. You could get me a shirt right now that says Impact Wrestling, property of Bullet Club. Bullet Club might be, well, you know what? We'll say it's working both ways. Because Bullet Club, I won't say was dead in the water, but the popularity has gone pretty stagnant. Now, Impact, you could say the same thing in some aspects, right? They're rejuvenating the Bullet Club, and I really think the Bullet Club will rejuvenate us. Because I really think that the reason we don't have big crowds yet is the same thing I said, and I think that's what I said at Sacrifice. I think it's people not wanting to man up and say, I enjoy Impact Wrestling. And I don't need you to do that, but what that does is it prevents those stadiums, those arenas from being full, and that the capacity that this talent deserves and this product deserves. Anywho, I just think that it's kind of has an NWO WCW feel, which is, okay, Bullet Club is cool, but WCW, oh man, WCW is all a bunch of old people. I hate that. It's the same fucking company. So if we can pull off that and say, well, Impact sucks, but Bullet Club, there are more people chanting for Bullet Club there than there were for, the Motor City Machine Guns. Let's ride it out. It's okay if the NWO gets us to the promised land. But that's my big point for that episode I wanted to make. But Max, can you touch on Anthony Corelli? What is his purpose? Why is he there? I see a trend that he's talking to Heath, he's talking to Macklin about them. Does that mean anything? Why is he?
I don't know. I wasn't sure if maybe I don't know if it's so that if one of their commentators has to leave, they can easily plug you know what I mean? They can easily plug somebody in. I don't know if it's one of those. So like, whoever can't be here, instead of it being like, oh, we have D'Lo coming back, it's like, hey, we've got Anthony here who's been here a couple of them. So, you never, so I don't know if it's that, or they don't have to put in Josh. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if maybe he's going to build a stable. Who knows?
Let's see where it goes.
I don't know.
Yeah, once again, spoiler free. I don't know. Once again, we don't know the spoilers. We don't read the spoilers. If we're right about anything, it's pure luck. If we're wrong about everything, that's just us. But no. I
don't know. And real quick, one other thing I do want to point out where you were that you had mentioned last time, I didn't get a chance to, with Bullet Club. So Bullet Club is now split into Bullet Club USA and Bullet Club Japan. Bullet Club USA is Chris Bay, El Phantasmo, Doc Gallows, Hikuleo, Jay White, and Carl Anderson. So 50% of it is Impact people.
And Hikuleo.
Like, for now, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if he's going to switch, but 50% of it is Impact. So clearly, they're making Impact a part of this, which I really like. So, but yeah, what do you think is like his? Do you think he's building something?
I was trying to find a common trend amongst the people he's talking to, or hey, did you speak to Rhino? No, I didn't speak to Rhino, but I talked to Macklin. That's a weird statement to make. It gives me a red flag that he's talking to heels, or he's talking, he's trying to. So maybe, he's another Canadian. I don't know if that has anything. But that's not what he's known for. I don't know if they're giving a professor-like angle. I just don't like it. I like the two-man tandem. I think they were making chemistry. So I hope it does lead to, well, I don't hope it leads to something, but I hope it doesn't lead to him permanently on there. But we'll see. I do want to
I like the two with the occasional third for like Maria
Trey,
coming in or Trey, right, or Brian Myers. Like, I like things like that, but I wanted to stay as 2. 3
right.
is too many.
And not to say that that's not what they're doing with him. He could just be one of those people, but he's been regularly week to week being coming out. So I want to touch on I want to get your opinion rather on something with Larry D and Gujar. First with Gujar, man, I was watching the Talking Bloody Nonsense guys, which you guys can watch live every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. BST. Great show, our format, different than ours, but two great guys. Mr. Impact Craig. Nixon, you'll see regularly because he just created a commercial that we'll have on next week for it, which will be funny. But great dudes, go listen to them. But they mentioned about the Gujar thing. There's nothing wrong with representing your country or just being proud of your heritage. And I 100% agree with that. And I don't think that's our issue. I just think that even when it's an American or Canadian Indian, that's the gimmick they go to. So it's refreshing to see him be from India, be proud of his heritage, talk about the kickboxing, talk about these other things, and represent it that way. As well as Raj Singh filling a totally different, non-stereotype Indian character, which is, once again, I cannot give praise enough for how much I like it. But I want to say, one of your opinion, two, I want to wrap up with Gujar by saying I think he's OVW or tough enough good, like he just graduated kind of feel. He needs some fine tuning, man, and by some I mean a lot. He weighs a buck, I don't know, not even 200, and he's trying to he does a knee breaker to Larry D, who's 350, and almost breaks his kneecap. What the fuck you doing, bro? Like, what is going on there? So I like him. I think he's got a good look. He's got potential. I like the storyline in which they're bringing him in. But I want to ask you about Larry D, because yes, he's no longer with the company. I thought it was great of how they brought him in, back for this little Kentucky loop. But the problem we're having is Larry D, obviously a more ring commander in there. Sometimes the local talent is going to get more over than the talent we're trying to get over. And that's what happened here tonight. Do you agree? Do you think this is a problem or a good problem?
So I tried to look to see how big Bhupinder is. He does not show up on. They don't put the heights and weight on the Impact site. Bothers me a little bit, but I'll see if I can figure out his exact size. But I do think that Larry D looked better this time than he has in a long time. I liked him.
He had something to prove.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to win, but I was like, he looked good. And I do agree that when you're bringing in local guys that people like, especially guys who have left and are kind of come back, even if they just left, people get the word, oh, this person left. Oh, I'm sad. I like that. Oh, Rudy's back. Like, unless he's wrestling Moose, like, you're going to get him. They are going to get bigger pops than people who aren't established and aren't developed yet. So I kind of feel like that's that was the issue we have here. And I like Bhupinder. I think I like his look. I love the kickboxing thing. I think his second rope spear is a different version of the spear than I've seen. So it's a little bit different, but I do agree that he does need some fine tuning. I really think him in a Masha role where he's just smashing like jobbers.
I'm wondering if they're giving him more work because he's past that point in their eye. Like he needs to work with some more ring generals.
I feel like this is a situation where I wish that Impact had a show similar to Darker Elevation, to where you could put him on there, get him some TV time, but he can't appear on BTI every single week.
All right.
So I really hope that maybe BTI gets expanded to maybe 2 matches, and maybe he can.
Maybe another show. More time is I think a common trend. All right, let's get through this. A lot to get through. Morrissey, let's see that replay. That was a good line from someone in the audience. I dig it. He comes out. He's a monster. Building him up that way. He doesn't need to cut a promo, and when he does, it's good. But I like this version of him because I think it adds. You have Josh. You have Moose. You have who next, right? That's what we're talking about. I think he can, if he stays with us doing this role, he is the next monster, if you want to call it that, of Impact Wrestling. And I think you need that in that division. So that's good. Then we had Shaw, Frost, and Dionna. Dionna going over there. Love that they fixed Frost's transition in her intro. Great match. Thought it was good. Next we had Gia and Josh. Josh talking, then we have a flashback to BTI earlier, which I dug rather. Once again, to mention BTI, go watch it. I didn't mention it. I apologize, but Diener versus Anderson, they set up the VBD. We want our titles back from Bullet Club, vice versa. Anyways, but they referenced that, and the Good Brothers are talking to Scott D'Amore. That's when we set up the 8 tag team elimination at Rebellion. We'll talk about that in a second. We had Jonah versus Zicky destroying him. PCO came out in an ambulance and a girder, whatever the hell it's called. Good shit, man. Good shit. Jonah was a little too scared for my liking, especially if I want him to face Samoa Joe at Rebellion. But
he's facing PCO. I think I think PCO is going to be the one that beats him and then sends him off. And you're going to develop PCO as that monster.
It makes sense. I hope that's not the way, but I hope Jonah has liked his time here enough to stay. But once again, we said we don't know if he's locked in that regard.
And after PCO beats him, then the lights go out and Joe's music hits.
Dun. Okay. Mickey performs, and she was attacked by Tasha. Speaking of that, 2 for Treehouse Tuesday, word it however you want. The LOL TNAIW finally debuts. It'll be 4:20 this Tuesday, p.m. Eastern. The hour-long Hogan era episode will debut, where we do a March Madness inspired 8 shitty things that happened in the Hogan era to go down to 1 to name the what we think is the worst. Now, it's not all shitting on it. We'll actually have a positive one as well, but they're just funny moments that people bring up, and that's how we use it. So me, Johnny, and Lucha, who's a familiar on the station, go check that out. And then at 8 p.m. that same day, you'll get Eric Young versus Tracy Bikini Contest episode. And then the following week, you'll get Mickey James performs live. So that's my segue there. So look out for those. Exciting stuff. I like what they're doing with Chelsea. I really don't know. We touched on it last time, but I don't know if they're going to go heel turn Mickey and because she's annoyed, or heel turn Chelsea first, or heel turn Mickey first, then Chelsea. Some interesting stuff there that we could touch on. Masha destroyed Ari Schumer. I think she's related to Amy. I'm not sure. I wanted to make that joke, by the way, if she didn't get up after that first suplex. Holy shit. She jumped right on her head. Poor girl. Zicky and Gia loved this because I was nervous about Zicky, but they referenced the school. His acting and his promo skills are beautiful.
Like, the disrespect for Zicky, though. The man didn't even get an entrance against.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty, and that's why I was upset at first. But then to see this backstage promo, then to see Swinger's Dungeon. He's got a school. He's teaching people him and Swinger, baby, all day. Take my money. By the way, the moment of the night, or line of the night, Johnny Swinger, of course, talks about Gorgeous George and her boyfriend, the legendary Gorgeous George, and her boyfriend, Macho Man. Oh, yeah. Greatest fucking line ever. If you're not old enough to know, go back. Gorgeous George was the girlfriend of Macho eventually in the last days of WCW. Then we had Taven versus Josh, which Taven continuously shows me why he's not a Melvin, why he deserves to be with Impact Wrestling, which he already knew, which a lot of people already knew, but my eyes are open. And then we end it after a Josh victory. Moose goes to the lovely house of Josh Alexander. And our homie Jade, he gets Jade to sign or give it to Josh and deliver that. Look, man, if you didn't need more build to this, what a way to do it. Simple, poignant, good shit. Max?
No, I love the closing thing with Moose. I just thought it was... I like that because it's like the one-up of this is how Josh did it. Okay.
Right.
You know what? Awesome. I'm going to go to your house because I know you're at Impact, or I know you're currently at Impact Wrestling. Yeah. I feel like that's a little bit of a drive, but hey, my man is dedicated. Hopefully he can get back in the country before the next episode. I don't know what the rules are for going from Canada to the U.S. I'm not really familiar with that. So, I thought it was great. I love that.
Overall, yeah, let me get your opinion there and we'll move on. So, is there anything that stuck out in that last half that I just mentioned besides obvious?
I enjoyed the Zicky Dice thing when he was doing the whole I need to go to a wrestling school, and I agree with you. I was like, it's the first thing I thought of is you. I was like, oh, this is exactly what G wants. This is everything that G wanted in a Impact tag team.
And even if he doesn't, even if he ends up just in a stable with him, it works. But I'm people told me to look out for this guy that I like him. A couple friends outside the show, obviously. And I was like, I didn't know much about him from NWA. He looks like he's got like a sleazy gimmick, which hit or miss. Every week, man, they're showing me something. And the fact that he delivered that promo and he dropped the vibrato of being Zicky Dice and was just like, maybe this wrestling stuff's not for me. Give this guy, give him the opportunity. And I think he'll get it. And I think I don't know if they'll be one of the tag teams, but yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's get to Scott Hall. I'll let you get right into it. There's not much to say as far as lead up. I think we could talk about his career extensively. We could talk about his ups and downs extensively. But let's talk about the positive of not just him in Impact and TNA, but the legacy he led behind, and say our condolences and move on to some other stuff. Not out of disrespect,
This
but
is yeah. I mean, this is someone who, I mean, he was one of my like when I think of like the first group of wrestlers I really liked. I really liked Bret Hart. I loved Razor Ramon. I thought he was great. Um, he went to WCW and really, I mean, you talk about everybody talks about things changing this, but him and Kevin Nash, they really did change wrestling. Like coming over the whole outsiders thing, it was they blurred the lines. Granted, they New Japan did something similar, but this is the first time like mainstream people, the NWO grew wrestling to a point that
never.
it has never had seen before, and I don't think we'll ever see again. Where you had basketball players and like participants, so
Possible.
it's like it's because of him. He started that. So I mean, it's a sad situation when people you
Yeah.
grew up watching when you finally when they pass, because it's like losing a piece of your
Yeah.
childhood. But I do like he's someone that every week when that Monday Night War thing was going on, you had to be in front of your
Yeah.
TV, and it was because of
I
him.
mean, yeah. I mean, I won't go too far into the career of him. I mean, I think there's a lot of things he could have, should have done. He could have, should have done differently in his life, and maybe would have achieved those could have, should have titles and all that stuff that we think matters in the grand scheme of things. But I think you hit on it. He's my Mount Rushmore of personal wrestling, not who I think the Mount Rushmore of wrestling are, but who shit could I watch all the time, and what they were involved in. He has his fingerprint on a lot of the great shit of professional wrestling. Does he have some bad? Yeah, sure. Um, but his talent, and I won't get too far on that. I will say this because I do want to move on to more positive stuff, but um, there's nothing we could say that really justifies his legacy. Uh, but being a person, Max mentioned it. You grow up with these people. I grew up kind of. I've mentioned on the show a lot. Kind of alone a little bit in a little bit of a room, shut door kind of thing. Wrestling was my heartbeat in a way, and my escape. And when Eddie died, that was the one that I will say got me, because these are people that I've watched since childhood, that you feel every week are part of your family. You go with their ups and downs. You don't know them, but it touches you in a way because they're there. And my family having addiction issues and stuff, I've always rooted for Scott Hall. I always found the commonality and that talent behind there. He just has some stuff going on. So I implore you to go watch his documentary that's on the WWE Network, wherever you could find it. You know, it tells you a lot about why Scott's Scott. Doesn't make excuses for it, but it tells you a story. And for those who aren't, or just take a small narrative of what they're given or have been given, it's worth looking into this man because he's a talented dude. And when online and focused, I don't think there's anyone better in some regards. Marvelous Me, Io, thank you for that tribute, by the way. It popped me. I was in New York and I saw that, and it really did bring me up. So, Scott Hall, we love you. Rest in peace, my friend. Yeah. All right. Let's go quickly into to Rhino news. I just want to say, we've talked about Rhino. It looks like, and I know just to make it as simple as it is, he's an athlete. To continue as he wants to is the information that came out for another 5 years of full-time wrestling as he transitions to backstage as a producer for Impact, which is the news I want to bring to you. He's obviously dropping some weight. He's trying to get in shape. They're revitalizing his character for 5 years. It's necessary for him to do that. And you'll never hear a complaint from me if he does. I love Rhino. I love the music. I love the guy. I love his history. I love what he can bring to the table. He's just got to be motivated. And I think we're headed in that direction. And I'm excited to see what he could bring to the table as far as backstage. Hannah fan saying that, he loves Impact and what it brings or what it represents. He's someone you want on board. So,
I mean, he's 46 now, so he'd be 51. It's the same age Tommy Dreamer is now, but
hey, what's AJ? What's Jericho?
I
In
think
their 50s, right? Early 50s?
it would help if I spelled Chris Jericho.
Well, what?
By the way, he is no longer a wrestler. He's now a sports entertainer.
Sure. So while you're
Jericho's
okay,
51,
there you go.
so yeah.
I mean, and is Rhino? Are we saying Rhino is on the same level? No, we get it. But is Rhino still have a ton of value and a legendary name? Yeah, fuck yeah, I love Rhino.
AJ Styles is only 44.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be a good 10, 15
He sounds like a 7-year contract. Maybe I'm just planning on his past WWE thing career. All right. ROH Briscoes. I'm bringing this to the attention because obviously the card is becoming set, and it's becoming set by Tony Khan and only Tony Khan. So it is an AEW production. But okay, Silken was backstage at the last Impact taping. So was Gresham. I think Riccaboni was spotted. So still stuff going on. Obviously, we have the ROH Women's title here with Dionna, and obviously the Good Brothers are facing the current ROH World Tag Team Champions at the Multiverse show. What's interesting to me, and this is what I was mentioning, and didn't want to go full detail off Air Max. If you watch the graphic go by, if you guys can see it as well, they no longer have the tag team titles in the Briscoes picture. They're about to face FTR at that Multiverse thing. They're at the Supercard for Ring of Honor. Yes. So I imagine FTR wins is my speculation. It just says ROH, as in that's who's representing it. I think we might be headed in the right direction as far as what you were saying earlier, last episode about Tony Khan maybe, saying, hey man, don't want you guys to lose while you're the champions. Something's playing out here. I think the odds of the Briscoes coming to Impact is growing. And once again, they mentioned the Warner Media thing. I just don't think they take a chance. Although I believe people change. I believe people can learn. And that if you drive, outside of a 15-mile radius of your area and you get to meet different kinds of people, your opinion changes. You learn. And I think that's what happened. So maybe I'm wrong, but I believe they deserve to be on television, especially ours. Max, while you hit that, I'm going to load up the depth chart. Yes, I said load up because okay, good times.
So, I mean, that's a possibility. The Multiverse of Matches is supposed to happen on April 1st, right?
Correct.
Because that's the same date the Supercard of Honor is happening. So, I mean, it's definitely a possibility that they don't want that, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Tony wants to take the titles off of him because he doesn't want them wrestling. Right. I mean, that is what it is. If I was the Revival or FTR, whatever they are, I'd be a little upset that I was going to be ROH champion and not AEW champion. That's like, hey man, it's like when Finn was, that'd be like, hey man, we're sending you down to NXT. Because as much as you want to say that these are going to be two promotions and he's going to run ROH like AEW, he's not going to there's zero chances that both of these are stacked equally. Both these companies, like AEW is his baby. Right. What he
this
created.
Is just opportunity.
So, yeah, and you can talk about loving ROH, but I mean, maybe he can. I mean, if he is, he's a better person than I am, because obviously I couldn't. If I created a wrestling company and got it to where AEW was, and then I purchased ROH, there's no way ROH is going to be better than AEW, because AEW is one that I built from the ground up. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I do think that it's a possibility that with the Good Brothers losing the titles, that he was like, okay, if you guys aren't going to have your champion, I'll take it off them, and then it'll just be ROH
I don't
versus
think he'd do
Impact,
that, but
whatever. I don't know.
yeah,
But we'll
I'm
see.
headed more towards him being shitty now, and I was a big, obviously, defender of the con man, but I think the writing's on the wall here for him to be, and rightfully so, as a businessman. I mean, you created it, you put the money into it, you're successful by doing what you've done, and now you bought ROH. Do it the same. You don't need to give people the rub. You don't need to help Impact it. And I just think otherwise. I think otherwise. So I'm updating this real quick, as you guys can see if you're watching on Twitch live right now or YouTube as it loads up on Sunday. But Moose, Josh Alexander, Eddie Edwards, and W. Morrissey are who I have, if I remember correctly, as our top 4. I don't remember if we had a 5th. I think there was places to play with. And then Tasha Steelz, Dionna, and Mickey. Mickey, obviously, NWA-ish as well, Chelsea as well. But I think it's, in the contention for it always. So I think she deserves a spot there. So Max, was there anyone else I'm missing here that you were locked in on as a world champion contender?
I think those are your main
But
3.
we got to get to 5. So.
Oh, I thought they were done. I mean, Chelsea is obviously one. And by the way, Garland, Texas, and Dallas, Texas are only 31 minutes apart, so it's pretty easy to have one match and the person drives.
They're not going to no-show one. I hope. All right.
That would be hilarious if they no-showed the Supercard of Honor.
Yeah. I see some plus the Good Brothers contracts may be coming up before Slammiversary. Yeah, they run up. We went over that. If you missed last episode, go check it out, episode 83. We talk about the people that may be running up soon, as in Ace Austin, Crazy Steve, the Good Brothers. There's a pretty big group, so we'll see what happens.
Jordan is another one.
Jordan. Jesus. And I'm not doing them in order, but
yeah, no. This is in order. Outside of the champion
correct.
Being one.
And then for guys, I think we can, banter. If Jonah is here for the Hall, or Jay White even, look, man, I just would say that if they won tomorrow, I'd be like, what the fuck? If Eddie did when he's leading them, or Eric Young did, or Morrissey, Alexander, I could see all of them winning it, transitional or not. As far as 5th, I think there's room to play. But for sake of time, let's get into tag team champions. Let's start with the dudes first, because we need 8. So we're going to start with the champions themselves. We're going to start from VBD, even though I think they're quality, especially Eric Young being the head there. I think we have the Good Brothers. We once again don't know if they're leaving in July, but I think they're sticking around.
We've got OGK.
So we'll put just for Jeff's dumbness, the Kingdom. All right. Now we have the Soldiers, right? I think they'll stick together, and they're doing. I like them as a unit. I could watch their matches all day.
We've got Heath and Rhino.
We have Heath and Rhino, which rejuvenated. So I'll give you that there. Are we going a little bit? Are we adding a 6th?
Yeah.
We're gonna do the 8.
So,
okay.
Yeah, God is on the page, so they're there, and they're gonna show up.
Fair. So, do you think they are going to be that mysterious team, or do we not have one yet? VBD, Good Brothers, Kingdom, Soldiers. That's 4. Heath Rhino. That's 5. God is 6. We got Finjuice possible. Motor City Machine Guns makes
Motor City Machine
which
Guns.
makes a lot of sense. And what about
Decay?
Huh?
Decay?
We got Decay. Holy Lord, we're running out of space here. Okay.
Keep it up.
I mean, number 9. I'm going
picture.
them boys, man. I think Briscoes.
The Briscoes, possibly. Obviously, Zicky Dice and Johnny Swinger have potential, possibly.
We'll call him this Swing Time. And then we have who was the one before that you said?
Finjuice.
Yeah, you never know. All right. So the point is with this, for a division that we consistently were disappointed in for a time. I think we're rejuvenating it here. Even if all these don't come to fruition, I mean, you have enough to make it reasonable. We didn't count Jay and Bay. I think they'll be doing other things, but it's possible they aren't.
Beyblade. That's their tag team name is Beyblade.
Geniuses came up with that. All right, let's get into this one, and then we'll wrap this up, my friend. But
we got Ace and Madman
Ace and
Fault
Faultman.
too.
Holy Lord. Okay, so I think it's safe to say that
We got 12 legitimate tag
and
teams.
then still have the ability to
create some others.
Now, Ace, though, just to be fair, will be participating in the Rebellion 3-Way X Division.
This is just tag teams.
Correct. And that's to say, I mean, we could go with the knockouts and the world and do the same thing. Would I see Finjuice winning it tomorrow? No. Could I see Briscoes or Swing Time? Or, well, maybe Briscoes, but the Swingers, no. Decay, maybe. Motor City Machine Guns, maybe. GOD. I think there's a lot of maybes there. And maybe isn't a bad place to start formulating this division back to its glory.
Yeah, I mean, let's be realistic. If Finjuice showed up at a pay-per-view, they're instantly a possibility on our team that you could see winning it because they're two-time tag team champions.
Holy shit.
Is it?
I don't remember, man. I think maybe 2.
I thought it was 2.
It's been so long. All right, so let's start with the knockouts here. Obviously, we have
one-time tag team champions. They're two-time IWGP United States tag team.
So the Influence, the Inspiration,
Decay.
Okay.
All right, let's look through this thing.
Can't spell. I think Tasha and Savannah are. You could put them together if you needed to.
Yeah, Chelsea and Mickey right now.
Chelsea and Mickey right now would be an interesting storyline. I like the longer process with this. I said there's different ways they could do it. If Chelsea and Mickey won this tag team title at some point, now that we're able to move them around, we're not going over the let's eliminate EY and ODB's shit stain of a skid mark on the record book, then break it up. Chelsea and Mickey could win. Hot shot that, and then make that start for a feud. Then have another tournament to decide. There's a lot of things they can do here to spark plug this, to add some juice to it. But I think no one can argue with the fact that right now, this could be a group. I see Jordan and Jordan, I think, is better on her own, man. And that's not anything against Rachel. Obviously another tag team would be nice, but she's a star, and she should be right back in that world championship picture. But Chelsea and Mickey are a possibility. I also think that I don't know if Giselle and Lady Frost are going to go that route.
I think they could, but I wouldn't put them on here yet. We kind of have to see.
But I would, and I like the reference here by T Hughes 1990 in the chat. Once again, Fire's chat. I don't go on anyone else's, but in my eyes, it's the Fire's chat in the world. All right, Dionna and Chelsea. Now we've mentioned that before. They're friends outside of it. I think they could both play the same mindset of well, it depends. It depends where Chelsea goes with this. But it could be something interesting when she does go heel long term. I don't know. I don't know if that's the route right now, but that could be good. Taylor Wilde, yeah, there's Taylor. There's been a lot of Taylor and Sarita references. So,
I mean, if ODB comes back, you can always reteam him with Eric Young.
Look, if VBD goes for him, I have no problem. And we'll actually wrap that up. So I think there's a lot. We'll make this clean and better and put it back out for next week. And we'll continue doing all of them until we finally hit them. Bring back the Sea Stars. They get me seasick. I'd rather get seasick for 32 hours than watch them. They're not horrible. They were below where Gujar was when they debuted. That's not bad. He's developed, but only so much, and they're just not a fan. Not a fan right now. Chelsea and Santana Garrett, yeah, I think we could keep going as far as who could come in and be tag teams, and I like all of these options, but Chelsea seems to be the common denominator of the sticker in the tag division. Um, but yeah, we'll clean this up. We'll reconvene and go from there. But I think it's safe to say that we have. Jeez, Jeff, what? Um, that's not mean. They're talented in their own right. I think we're heading in the right direction. I think at this point it's booking. It's fitting all this in, I mean, look, Trey wasn't even on this episode, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he's on the X division, which we hold in high regard. So, hey, every segment matters, and same with the power rankings. It sounds silly, but the tag team divisions, as well as the world and the X, and I hopefully knock on wood the DMC, they're gonna start formulating, and those people that we are scared of leaving or doing the constant refreshing might not be such a bad thing. We'll see. Yeah, where Sue Young lands. Yeah, man, a lot of cool things. Beautiful people. I know Matt Velvet can't wrestle anymore.
What?
I don't know. I thought she stopped in 2008. No, she retired. I think she retired. She can't. She's injuries.
I really thought you were about to say Velvet can't wrestle anymore, and I was like, why? I thought you'd be like,
I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that mean, but thanks for setting me up. All right.
And by the way, if we're looking for another tag team, we also got Matthew Raywald and Tom Hannafan. If they need to step into the ring and throw down, they're working well together.
You never know. Either way, I think we're headed into an exciting time for Impact. Is it a little bit of a lull with us, a little bit of a lull with the company? Maybe. I enjoy it. I don't look for just the highlight moments, but I believe honestly that they're creating them week after week. If you just give it a chance and watch A to Z. Max, is there anything you wanna touch on before we say adieu?
No.
Bid adieu.
Congratulations to the new AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. Former Impact title challenger, Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
So congrats to her.
The other thing I do want to ask before we leave, because obviously we're going to have more shows before April 1st and the Multiverse and all these different things. Rebellion as well. I think it's safe to assume that Dionna is going to hold both titles until Rebellion. She's probably, well, if she is, that means she is holding it to Supercard of Honor. Do you think that happens? Let me take a step back. Maybe she doesn't go with both till Rebellion. Now, if that's the case, who do you see appearing? If we believe what we believe about Tony Khan and AEW and ROH and wanting to keep them blah, who takes the belt off of Dionna? At Supercard, let's answer that first.
I know this is probably going to be a pretty standard thing. I'm going to go Britt Baker. I think, I like Britt. She's from Pittsburgh, so I got to root for her. I like her character, but it got a little bit old. But clearly AEW really, really likes her. They kept the title on her, I'd say about a month or two too long. And I think her going right back in and having the ROH title lets them give her a title, but take her out of the AEW picture. And it possibly gives her a way to continue to develop and get better. Because promo, character-wise, she's great. Wrestling's can improve a little bit. So I think that's the best way to do it. So I think it'll be Baker.
I agree. I think they'll put on a classic. I think Impact obviously has to give it up, but once again, 9/10 of the law. Possession is 9/10 of the law, right? So we had. They could have just thrown in the trash, sure, but they're going to do business the right way. And
Medusa gave up that WWE Women's title. We can do the same thing.
If they're gonna go the route of us doing the job, I would imagine they would put their top person that's the way Scott would agree to it. So it has to be Britt. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't care what people will say about it. It's for the ROH title. And for ROH to reboot with FTR and Britt, that makes sense from an AEW perspective. Now, let's move on to last question. If she's still holding the AAA title, what happens at Rebellion? I mean, she's obviously going to have an open challenge. Is this where we finally get Taya back?
I mean, I think that would be a really good option, is to have Taya. It wouldn't surprise me if, come to think of it, if she lost the ROH title to somebody else before Supercard, like
really?
Chelsea, because remember, they wouldn't let us beat Kenny Omega, but we got to beat Christian Cage. So do I think Scott would say, hey, I'm not going to let you guys take a win from Dionna. I'll let you take a win from somebody else. Possibly just tie a win both and then go in. I don't know. But I think
I don't think it gets that convoluted. I also don't think we're in the place to burn bridges. I think we just always have to be the better people, unfortunately. And I think it'll play out. But we're way over. I want to thank you guys for sticking around with us. We love you in the chat there. We love you for watching us. Thank you to the 272 on YouTube, to the 3,344 on Twitter, and the great job Io's doing there. And then on Twitch, we are on episode 84. So by next episode, we need one more follower. So please be that person. And then to our audio crew, thank you for being with us, regardless of the situation. We got it unlocked. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to T Hughes 1990, his question is, who is in the Ultimate X match? That's the question. We will go next week. We'll talk about the DMC division. We'll talk about the X division and allude to who we think could be in that Ultimate X. For Geoff, Max, thank you for coming out. See you later.
Guys.
Watch Impact.